hosted by Start Deliver and Impact Academy. And today we're talking about career paths in customer success. I'm Johan Nilsson, CEO and founder of Start Deliver. You have my contact details here. And we will share everything we talk about today. You will get the recording, you will get the presentation, you might even get some bonus material from today. Also, if you're listening in live, please post questions in the Q&A tab in Zoom. We will cover them hopefully in the end of this webinar. Otherwise, we'll get back to you on those questions. So keep posting them and we'll answer those. And feel free to reach out if you need to, if you're listening in on the recording later, of course. So Start Deliver, we make a customer success platform that's purpose-built for customer success. That's one part of what we do. The other part is Impact Academy, which is training programs, interactive and live training programs for customer success. So that's what we do. What we also do together with our good friend Lincoln Murphy is that we have a podcast. We just recently launched, so make sure to check it out. The podcast is tackling an issue, a problem, a question, a challenge with a very hands-on tips from us every week, Wednesdays, and you can post your questions as well, and we will address them. So check that out. You find it on all the common places where you find podcasts. Back to today's topics, we're talking about career paths, really important one. The reason we're having this webinar is that customer success as a job, as a function, as a team is exploding. This is searches now. Last couple of years, it's just been going through the roof. And I think most of us that are in this industry, talking to leaders in customer success, talking to SaaS companies, customer success is more important than ever. So we want to address this and we want to help people in customer success to find their path, how they can grow and they can thrive in this field. So this graph is pointing upwards, but I think anyone reading the news these days see things going another direction. A lot of bad headlines in the economy in general, high inflation, people are talking about recession. And of course, things also happen within SaaS that's been growing quite a lot recently. I think just as a background to what we're talking about today, a lot of companies are seeing valuations going down. Investments are harder to get funding. So this is a little bit the environment we're working in. And also I saw a recent study asking subscription businesses, SaaS businesses, how do they look for coming year on ARR growth? And most companies are actually expecting to have a decline in growth. So this as a background, what does this have to do with customer success? How will this impact us? And I believe this will make customer success even more important. In a tougher economy, in a tougher market situation, it would be more important than ever to reduce contraction, reduce churn, and as the previous graph showed, if ARR growth is slowing down, maybe the only way to grow is actually to do more with existing customers. So the market situation is as it is. Customer success will be even more important. But in general, I think everyone will feel more pressure. Will be more pressure on the system as a whole. And also in this situation, we in customer success need to navigate. So let's get into today's topic. And I think if we talk career paths, we need to also talk about why do people even leave customer success? And if we start there, so why do people leave? Of course, there's all these general things that make people leave, no matter which function they're in. But there's some things within customer success that, as a manager, as a leader, you need to think about to avoid having high turnover. And this is what we call sweeping things under the customer success rug. So basically hiding problems and putting customer success in front of it and hoping that things will go away. A few examples here are, some of these are like root causes also for having high churn. Like if you keep bringing in bad fit customers, if you have a broken product in some aspect, if you ask customer success to firefight, to actually run out and just try to win back customers that have canceled on you, if you add no tools and you have no help, these are things that will, in customer success, create high turnover. And maybe you can hide it for a while, but eventually these things will surface. And the first thing that will happen is that we will have a lot of people leaving customer success. So these are a few things that to think about to avoid having people leave customer success. All right, back. a small interruption there. I hope you can hear me again. So we're back. So we were talking about early signs that CSM is about to quit. Zoom quitted on us now, but this is back to customer success. So one of these things that are a little bit counterintuitive, if there's no complaints from a CSM, that is a big risk. Usually when you work in customer success and have a lot of things going on with customers, with the product, there will be issues, there will be things happening, and a good sign is that the customer success brings up problems. This is not working. We should do this. We should do that. We should have this. We should do that. If there's nothing happening, if there's nothing coming from the CSM, that's a sign that they are maybe not so engaged. Another sign is that they are not bringing problems from the customer side. And I think that's one of the parts of being in customer success, is that you're the voice of the customer. And sometimes you can solve those problems or challenges or issues with the customer yourself, but a lot of time you need to ventilate, you need help from others. And that's also like a sign that this customer success manager is not engaged, is not listening, is not having the right dialogues with the customer. So not surfacing customer issues could also be a sign that this customer success manager is about to leave. And the last thing here is that a customer success manager that's about quitting would probably not bring in any expansion, do any more upgrades or sales on the customers. So these are, of course, there is situations where this can happen anyways, but these are signs to look for that could indicate that this customer success manager is not happy as things are and might be thinking of leaving. Moving from this, now we want to talk about, okay, how can we get the team to peak perform? How can we make a customer success manager work as a top performance and as world class? And that's where the interesting part is, of course. So let's dig into this. So how do we as a human being peak perform? And there's a lot of research here, and there's decades of academics looking at these with statistics. There's basically three things. It's mastery, it's autonomy, and it's connection or connected to others. If you have these three things, then you will perform on a very high level. If you want to dig into this further, there's a link here to a study. So this is an academic study, so it will be a long read. But that's where the facts are. If you want to have a nice read, recommend this book by Ron Freeman, who talks a lot about this topic. But these three things are the main things that make us peak perform. A parallel. Anyone know about this game, Roblox? My daughter, she is obsessed with this game. And it fits very well into these three things, because this is a game where the better you get, the more levels you unlock, the more games you get access to, which is mastery, basically. The other thing is that you can design how you look. You can pick and choose which competitions to enter, which games to use. So it's a lot of autonomy in here. And of course, she's just doing this all by herself. And the third thing here is that she can do this together with her friends live, and they can chat live. They can actually see each other's characters live. So they're really tightly connected here. So I have to work really hard to get her away from this game. That's how powerful these things are. So that's a parallel back to our world. So customer success, how do we fit in here? what about mastery? What about autonomy? What about connection to others? I will get back to this, but these are key things when you think about career paths and when you think about how you can develop your team or how you can develop yourself in your career. But let's look into the different roles in customer success as well. So if we take a general look at the typical organizational chart, there will be typically you have on the right hand side here, you have the sales side. There might be more roles here, but just to keep it simple, you usually have an account executive that brings in customers, or of course you have a team or team of teams doing that. You have support, you have a customer success manager, and you have a head of customer success. So this is a little bit in general how an organization would look like. Where do head of customer success report? We'll get back to that, but usually to a C-level. This can vary. We'll get back to this because we see a lot of things happening here. But let's dig into these two main roles within customer success that I think most people have. And let's start with the CSM. So if we think about these, how do we perform on the highest level? How does it look like? Maybe let's start, how does it look like when we're not performing, when things are really hard? And here, if we break it down to these three parts, if we look at the CSM, not performing, not feeling good in their job, not being motivated, in a mastery point of view, it's very common that you as a customer success manager are just thrown into the deep end. Learn as you go. Maybe you know the product really well. Now you're sent out to take care of a portfolio of customers. You're usually in a poor position with the customer. They see you as a support. You're not on top of things in terms of mastery. What about autonomy? When things are bad, you are viewed as glorified support. You are thrown things. You get to do things, tasks are handed over to you from internally or from customers. You have a reactive focus. You're working out of your inbox. You're closing tickets more or less. And you're weak. It's completely jammed. You're full of things to handle, and you're basically just hustling to get through every week. So from an autonomy point of view, you have very little autonomy there. And as a connection to others, you feel alone in the job here. It's you. Maybe you have some colleagues. You have some nice lunch or your coffee sessions, but you really don't see any other one. You don't have any peers. You don't have any aspirations. So from a connection point of view, you might have some good friends, as in colleagues, but maybe you don't see where to go from here. So now we're looking at the bad side of things, but turning this around. So how does it look like when you really are performing in your role as a CSM? And from a mastery point of view, a CSM that's top of his game, performing, have what we call objective confidence. And objective confidence is different from subjective confidence. In subjective confidence, you feel confident. In objective confidence, you know what to do. You know what to do in every situation. When you're entering a specific customer meeting, a business review, this situation with a customer, you know how to work it out. You know what you need to know. You know how to position yourself. You are a business advisor. You talk about business goals with the customer. You talk to the right stakeholders. You have a focus on NRR growth, and also in your own career, you see yourself evolving, taking the next step, and perhaps you even have a next career goal within customer success. That's when you are really on top of things when it comes to mastery. And from an autonomy point of view, there is clear roles. You know what's expected of your role. You know what KPIs you have. You know what you have to do to reach those KPIs, the roll-up metrics. You have a very effective work week where you do the right things. You don't do everything. You do the most prioritized things that moves the needle, basically. And you can prioritize you move things away from your calendar that you're not supposed to be doing. You're also engaged in improvements. You see where things can be improved, both in the product, in processes, in structures, within customer success, and maybe across other teams. You're basically in control. So this is a great way in terms of autonomy when you have these things in place. As connection to others, you're also here, you're engaged with other CSMs. You interact with professionals, you talk with other people that you can get inspiration from, that you can actually grow from as well. And you also, of course, have your colleagues and that part, but you have also professionals that you can work with and that you see maybe they have advanced more than you, and you can look up to them and have some role model. So this is when you're as a CSM are in a really good position and you know where you're going. The other role we're talking about here is head of customer success. So basically you're leading a team of customer success managers or similar. And again, let's start by when are things not working? When are you not performing? When are things bad when you're head of customer success? And if we break it down again if we look at from a mastery point of view, we see this a lot of times where the head of customer success is both a doer and the manager. So you have a lot of a portfolio of customers, and you're supposed to manage also a team of customer success managers. And in this situation, you also have a lot of processes that you need to set in place. You need to improve things. Maybe it's onboarding. Maybe it's how to turn around risk customers. Maybe it's about expansion or renewal processes. The whole thing is falling between. You have clear, maybe you have KPIs, but you're not following up on those. You don't have the roll-up metrics, and you don't feel that you own net revenue retention. So this is when mastery is not in place. And from an autonomy point of view, you don't have any mandate. You can't hire. You can't invest in other resources. You need tools and stuff. Maybe your manager does not understand customer success in depth. Maybe you're just told what to do, and from an autonomy point of view, things are not going well. Also here, it's very common that you feel alone here, especially if you don't have a real understanding of what customer success is in your manager or in the leadership team. And perhaps there is not other people within the company either, so you have few people to discuss and interact with around how to work as head of customer success. So these are some of the things that can be when you're not performing. Let's look now on how things are when you can perform as head of customer success. From a mastery point of view, you have an operating model in place. This is really important when you're leading a team. The operating model is work in progress, so it's always improved, but at least you have a structure, a model that you follow. This enables you to lead the team, to coach, and you can focus on what is the goal, the overall goal for a customer success organization is to grow NRR. So that's from a mastery point of view. From an autonomy point of view, you can take ownership of everything that happens after the sale. So when sales bring in a new customer, you take care of everything. You own it from there. Expansion, renewals, everything. And you can build an org structure around this. You plan the capacity. What do you need now? What will we need going down the road as we scale? You can also look at efficiencies. How can we have a better coverage model? What do we need? How do we work with that? This is when you have autonomy as a head of customer success. Connected to others. Here, this is really key. Head of customer success, you need to network, you need to benchmark, you need to understand what other people are doing, what other people have been successful doing, what other people have failed doing. So here you can do a lot, you can exchange a lot by just interacting with others. Maybe they're a little bit ahead of you. You can evolve a lot and you can actually speed up your process a lot by interacting and connecting with others in this sense. So this is how it looks like when you're on top of things, when you're performing at a high level as head of customer success. Let's go back to the org chart. So we're talking about career paths, and we also want to share a little bit what other roles are there within customer success and what's going on here. And how can we think about these roles? Are you looking for some new ones, Or are you as an individual looking to move somewhere in this org chart? So first of all, I want to talk about the leadership here. This is a very clear trend that we see happening a lot across the board, and that's that customer success is getting a C-level that's basically reporting directly to the CEO, responsible for everything after sales. So basically owning all of the everything after sale, becoming more like on the same level in status, in hierarchy, everything within the company as sales. Basically taking full business ownership. If you want to know more about what this takes and how you get there, we have a great presentation to share with you. So we'll do that as well following this webinar. So that's something that's happening. Chief Customer Officer or similar, it can be other titles, of course, but that's something we clearly see. What else? So of course, depending on the size of the organization, you can have a lot more roles here. Old roles, account manager, key account manager, very common still. However, we see more and more those are turning into customer success managers as a title. And they are typically more commercially oriented, even though all customer success roles are commercial. What we also see that more and more differentiations within customer success. So senior customer success managers or similar. And I think that's a great way to elevate customer success managers to make them see a career path within customer success. And the senior CSMs can be like mini CEOs even. They can have a team even as part of their portfolio. So these are things happening within customer success. What we also see is new roles entering, specialist roles. And I think these are not new, but it's happening more abroad across the board. Onboarding specialist is probably the most common one, especially if you have a more complex process, if you have quite long process or a big onboarding. Onboarding is a big part of the normal job otherwise for a customer success manager. We see people entering, putting in specialists here. We also see another type of role is customer success engineer, which is more or less maybe they're part of a team looking after having a portfolio of customers. So they're part of that team, more into the details, more tech oriented. So these are some of the specialist roles. And why are they entering? Basically, it's to free up time for the customer success manager to do more, be working closer with the customer, talking about the customer goals, driving that part, making customers successful. So these roles free up that time, and that's where we see the payback basically. These can also be from a career path point of view. It's great to have transit roles or steps for a person to take. Maybe you've been in product, or you've been in tech, or you've been in support, and you want to move into customer success. And some of these specialist roles can be really great stepping stone to get into the next level. So that's why it's important to think about this org chart, not just what you need perhaps, but also to make sure that your team can see a next step, and you can train people into new roles as well. We also see another role. Of course, this is a little bit when as you grow, you see customer success operations, head of operations within customer success, basically. And this is similar to a RevOps or sales ops, where you have basically in customer success is data driven. So there's a lot of data, it's a lot of processes, and there's a lot of things to be done that also here can free up time for the people working with the customers, the CSMs, to make them more effective in their day-to-day work. So we see this happening as well, and to make sure that you leverage all the data you have, it can be really effective to bring in an operations person to look more on the data integrations, those processes and tools, basically. So that's becoming more common. What we also see, and what's talked about a lot, is of course customer marketing. We don't see a lot of dedicated roles in this space or within customer success for marketing, but part-time or the marketing team, you get some part of their the resources within marketing to help as well for customer marketing. But this we believe is going to happen a lot more. A lot more is going to happen here as we things evolve. Our coverage models evolve, the modalities, how we interact with customers evolve. It's a lot is coming down to communications, and here you can have support by marketing person or a strong communicator, basically. So these are few roles that are happening right now. We also just want to touch on some of the things, support. We see more and more support being part of customer success. Maybe that's all over the board right now, but support is, of course, one part of the whole customer success organization. What's also interesting is that we see account executives actually being responsible for first-year renewals. So basically, because sales is a little bit also working within customer success. So I think those are interesting things that are evolving as well when we talk about the organizational chart and where we're going. So this is these boxes are examples. There can be more roles. The main point here is to think about this when you think about career paths. It's really important for the team to understand where they can move. It's also important for us to understand where do we, how can we scale more efficiently, and what resources do we need here. And when we talk about leadership, we also need to talk about how to work with our team, and how to work with the career paths across the team. And just want to send through a few things also from a leadership point of view that makes all the difference here. And the number one thing here is to have these one-to-one discussions with your team. Of course, everybody does this in theory, but do it in practice. You need to have this open discussion. You need to capture all these early signs that maybe someone is leaving or quitting. You also need to understand where they stand from a mastery point of view, from an autonomy point of view, from a connection to others point of view. If you focus on these three things, how is that going with this individual? And how can I, as a manager or leader, help that person improve in mastery, become more autonomous, and have more connection with other people? So one-to-ones, work out a development plan. Of course, everyone can't be promoted every year or every month or so, but still need to look at the development plan so people see where they can go within 3-5 years. And development plan can also have smaller steps that you can assume more responsibility within your role, or you can assume responsibilities around your role. So it's really important to have that, not just in back of your head, but to show and talk to your team with this development plan. And team reviews. It's really key to when you have done 1 and 2 here, to have the team reviews to basically look at how is performance, of course, but also where are we right now with the organization? Where do we need to go? What roles are we missing? Or which roles should we introduce? And what competence do we need for those roles? So these are just three things to bring back as a leader from this to make sure that you get most out of the team. That was it. I just want to, we have 4 questions coming in, so I'll get to those. One question here is about the CSM, senior CSM. How long would you say to move from a CSM to senior CSM? And this is, of course, very hard to say like a fixed number here, but I think the main point here is to make sure that you have that, and make it a real thing, not just something on paper. We believe this is the CSM, this is the next level for a CSM. How long that takes for a person, it's impossible to say, of course, but I think it should be clear. It should also be understandable what's the difference and what does it take. And another question around sales and AE. There is no difference there. Account executive is the typical role in sales, but sales and AE is the same thing. A question around salaries, of course. And here we have, I don't have a lot of data here. The question is basically, I'm in Sweden and there is much out there to match salary to position. Yeah, I would say it's very hard to find data on that. And it's to be honest, I know the salary for a CSM can vary a lot between companies, the type of business, the seniority, so it's very hard to find some benchmarks there. I think you need to work it out a little bit from where you are, what your company, what your profile is, and so on. It's very hard to say. I don't have any stats on that at the moment. Thank you for those questions. I just want to remind everyone also that Impact Academy, we do these training programs. They are live, they are interactive, and they run for 3 weeks. Very hands-on. You work with your own customers. It's 2 live sessions per week. And we have 2 upcoming programs starting in January 16th. We have 14 seats available. And January 23rd, we have 6 seats for the head of customer success. So we have a program for CSMs and a program for head of customer success. Make sure to check those out. And thanks a lot for listening, and see you all soon.